United States. Some protesters in big cities hitting the streets to protest election results, chanting, "Count all the votes." That's happening in major cities just like New York, saying here, "Count every vote." Meantime, protesters are also hitting the streets, asking for the complete opposite. Take a look here. This is in Detroit, Michigan, where supporters of the president are asking poll workers there to stop counting votes. Similar protests in support of the president also took place in Arizona.
And the U.S.
For the person who gets to 270, Joe Biden is close. He only needs 6 more Electoral College votes to get there. He's currently at 264 to the president's 214. Now, still up for grabs in terms of states are Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Nevada, and Alaska. Now, President Trump at 214 would need to take every single remaining state in order to win. And at 48 to 48. Now, each side needs to get to 51 in order to have the majority. But we do have the results of some key races. So check this out. Former astronaut Mark Kelly is now a senator-elect in Arizona. He won his race against Senator Martha McSally. Elsewhere, Republicans are hoping to avoid a runoff. Still no answer in this race to represent Georgia in the Senate. That's because the incumbent David Perdue still has the lead with 97% of precincts reporting, but it's still too close to call. Now in the House, Democrats have 204 seats to Republicans 190. That party has at least 218 seats, and then that is what determines control.
When you're out on the
Well, good Thursday morning. Patience is really the name of the game when it comes to this system behind us, and that is because we still have a lot to monitor with Ada. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lindsay Sublime.
There's just so much going on right now. I'm Kirstin Delgado. So let's first start with the latest track here for Ada and any potential it could have effect on us with meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees. This system was created to save this woman. We see all these men pulling her to safety across those rushing waters. And take a look. This is new video coming out on social media of those rushing waters. You see just how intense they are. And it's not just the rushing waters that are concerned. Now there's concern of mudslides. And that's because of the fact that they had about 2 to 3 feet of rain in parts of Honduras and Nicaragua because of Ada. Right now, Ada is responsible for at least 1 death there. Daily record of 100,000 COVID-19 infections, and now the focus is on finding a vaccine. Janae Muchmore spoke to one doctor that's running trials in our state. Janae, are they running trials in our area?
Kirstin,
across the United States, some protesters in big cities hitting the streets to protest election results, chanting, "Count all the votes." That's happening in major cities like New York. About a dozen people were arrested there overnight. Meantime, protesters are also asking for the opposite. This time, this is happening in Michigan, where supporters of the president are actually chanting, "Stop the count," as poll workers actually work to count absentee ballots in Detroit, Michigan. Similar protests took place in Arizona in support of the president as well. When we're working to find out more about this scene, just take a look. You can see here a police perimeter. It happened near the 1300 block of a loved veteran who received a surprise as his last wish has died. The family of Don McKinley, you can see here, say he died Saturday from cancer. Now, Wink knew young boy's life changed forever after a minor wound turns into a rare staph infection, so serious that doctors had to amputate his legs. Ada currently is over Central America right now, and it's headed toward Cuba next. Southwest Florida is still in the forecast column.
But good news, the storm is moving away from us. You can see it's shifted slightly to the southwest. We like to see that. Thanks for trusting Week News. I'm Teresa O'Shea.
And I'm Kirstin Delgado.
And Ada is still expected to bring lots of rain and wind. Weather Authority meteorologist Campaign Central. And as of right now, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden leads the Electoral College count. Now, this is the different news organizations call their own races. And the Associated Press called the race in Arizona for Joe Biden yesterday. And that's why you see a different number here instead of what you see in the CBS map, because this is the data allocated from the Associated Press that you see here. Now, that's what you're looking at right here. To race, the former vice president is preparing for the possibility the Electoral College will go in his favor. The Democratic nominees, Biden and Harris, launching their transition website today. Now, the site called BuildBackBetter.com features an image of Joe Biden where he says the American people will determine who will be the next president. Our coverage, of course, of the election continues on the Wink News app, and you can find the latest stories under the election tab. There are now clinical trials for a vaccine in our state. Wink News reporter Janae Muchmore tells us what you may have to go through to get this vaccine
if it's approved. Breaking news from Campaign Central. New numbers coming in from Nevada just into our newsroom. So let's take a look here at those numbers. Here is what we're learning right now. Joe Biden has extended his lead by an additional 4,000 votes. These are our first new numbers from Nevada in more than 24 hours. Joe Biden now stands at 598,000 votes. President Trump has 586,545 votes. That's a difference of about 11,500 votes.
A nurse
There are now clinical trials for a vaccine in our state. Wink News reporter Janae Muchmore tells us what you may have to go through to get this vaccine if it's approved.